instead of just what he said, because his question was so normal and we heard that so many times, and especially when Mulaba was coming, or during the Golden Jubilee and then during the Diamond Jubilee. This subject comes up, then it dies down, people forget. Parent forgets, children forgets, you know. So in the Diamond Jubilee especially, the more question came because Mulaba said, I will come and give Ismail Azam. So we at least had like 10, 20 different sessions like this on the subject of Ismail Azam, should I go, should I not go, and we are not talking about just teenager. As old as 50 to 60-year-old people, they still not had Ismail Azam, never had Ismail Azam, and they were still not sure. So let's come back to the teenager. I think you are interested in that. So आजकल के जो बच्चे हैं, and we have teenager, not quite teenager anymore. They are 21, 25, 26-year-old. But they all had a question one time or the other. And the question keeps coming up, what is the difference between us and the Imam? Like you said, he looks like us, he talks like us, lives like us. वो भी शादी करता है, हम भी शादी करते हैं. He has a children, we have a children. He has a business, we have a business. So what's the difference between Imam and us?
In fact, one of the child said that he's very smart. He's very clever.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he used.
Said, yeah.
Very smart and very clever.
Clever, yeah. That's how Imam likes.
Because he surrounds himself with the people.
Yeah,
intelligent people.
Yeah.
Because he is smarter than us.
Yeah, that's exactly they ask like that.
Right. So the example that we normally use, and of course during the conversation, first of all we always ask them, so what does it bother you? Does it bother because he's a human? Does it bother it because you don't understand him? What part of Imam does bother you? And 99% time, he says actually we have nothing against Imam. It is our parent who pushes us to do things we don't understand. That's the 99% time. 99%. And we are like, so you're saying you have no problem with Imam? He said, no, you have no problem with Imam. But we don't want our parents to push us into things that we don't want to do, or when we ask, they don't even have the answer. So in this particular kid, he said, when I asked my parents that why do we go for Didar? And the answer was, because I said so. That's not the answer. Right? And that's what making him mad. He was so angry that he didn't want to come to Didar. He just didn't want it. Because he thinks that his parents are following something that they don't even understand. And he was telling them that why don't we learn what we are doing before we do it? That's what he was telling his parents. When we talk to the parents, they say, we don't have a time for all this.
Yeah.
We have a belief. Why do we need to waste our time? He needs to learn, he needs to go learn. And they still, up to this day, never ever came to learn the answer to the children. Child already learned. They never came because they have no interest in learning about Imam, number one. Number two, to them it's just waste of time because they think they are doing everything they need to do by coming to Jamaat Sana whenever they can, doing volunteer duty whenever they can, dasam dal diya, dua pad liya, and that's it. Ye hamara mazhab hai. To them, everything else is just waste of time. Because this is their belief. Who am I to say anything? Who are we to say anything? Or who is anyone to say anything, right? This is their belief. We cannot just tell you what to do. Anyway, so this kid, the very first thing we asked, he said, son, have you ever, and he had not, and he looked it up quickly, have you ever seen a bamboo stick and a sugar cane? He said, no. So look it up. So he Googled it, bamboo stick and sugar cane. They look exactly the same. They look exactly. The difference is one is hollow, From inside, one has full of sugar. I said, the Imam may look like us, but don't think he's like us. This difference is between the bamboo stick and a sugar cane. And he's like, wow, I never thought like that. So what does Imam have that we don't have? I told him, I said, you may not understand this, but I'm going to go and tell you anyway. He has a Ruh Qudus, the soul of Allah in English. हमारे दाइयों ने जो वर्ड यूज किया है रूल कुद्दूस है गुजराती में बोलो साहब
Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit.
Even when you say Nur, do I understand?
You understand? रूल कुद्दूस आप समझिए रूल कुद्दूस ओके लेकिन गुजराती में बोली सको
Rule Qudus like the, but when you give me the explanation, I understood.
Yeah.
The term, yeah.
The term. The Ruh Qudus, the Holy Spirit. So, Imam has Ruh Qudus and we don't. And of course he didn't understand, so I had to bring him and teach him like a child. And that's I think what you wanted to learn. When human is born, we think we only have one single kind of soul. Matter of fact, we have a different kinds of souls. So when we are born, we are only born with a mineral soul. Mineral soul को क्या बोलते हैं उर्दू में?
Nabati.
हाँ, रूह नबाती, रूह नबाती, mineral soul. And then once we are born and we start hearing things and we start seeing things, we start to get the animal soul. The नबाती soul का जो ऊपर का हिस्सा है, meaning progressive part of the mineral soul is the animal soul.
The vegetative soul and then animal soul?
हाँ, vegetative soul, thank you. Second part जो आता है उसके अंदर vegetative soul आता है जब वो दूध पीने लगता है. जब दूध पीने लगता है उसके अंदर vegetative soul आती है. Upper part of the or progressive part of the mineral soul is vegetative soul. जब वो vegetative soul के साथ जब वो आंखें खोलता है थोड़ा सा होता है तो हम यूं करते हैं तो चौंक जाता है यूं करते हैं तो आंखें बंद करता है वो यूं करता है यूं करता है. That's instinct that comes with the animal soul. And most people don't know that and think that we are all born with one single soul.
Yeah, that's what I always thought. Yeah.
Right? But that's not true. So we are born with the mineral soul, then comes the vegetative soul. Vegetative soul, how do we know the vegetative soul हमारे अंदर है or mineral soul हमारे अंदर है? When the child is born, look at it for a day or two. What does he do? जैसा पत्थर पड़ा हुआ है. There is nothing there. But in couple of days, as he is drinking the mother's milk, he get the vegetative soul. और vegetative soul का क्या होता है कि compared to mineral soul, vegetative soul is alive. Compared to mineral soul, वो grow करता है. जैसे एक दरख्त है, a plant है, it starts to grow. Then comes the animal soul. वो कभी आता है जब इसकी आँख खुलती है वो कान से सुनने का लायक होता है. Around either 3 week or 4 week, whatever that is. कि जब वो सुनने लगता है और जब वो देखने लगता है. हालांकि इसकी बिनाई जो होती है, the eyesight is very very weak because he just sees different colors. But still, if you go like this, he will. That's the animal instinct that he receives from those actions around him and from the listening to the thing. कभी higher volume tone, कभी lower volume. इसलिए बोलते हैं बच्चों को मेलोडी सुनानी चाहिए, गिटार सुनाना चाहिए, तस्बीह सुनानी चाहिए. Whatever you make them hear at the beginning, it becomes part of their soul. If आपके घर में लड़ाई झगड़े है, आपके घर में bad things हो रही है, he will receive that soul, and you don't want that in a child. So the third soul that comes is the animal soul. After that, after a long time, nothing happens. The human soul or the rational soul जिसको बोलते हैं, rational soul does not come into the child sometime until they are 10, 11, 12 year old, which we call human soul. Is actually rational soul, जो उसको बताता है कि ये right है और ये wrong है. Rationalize कर सकता है वो कि this is right and this is wrong. Some child learn earlier, 8, 9, 10 year old. some later on. So comes rational soul. अभी भी एक सोल हमारे अंदर नहीं है जो इमाम के अंदर है, और वो है रूल कुद्दूस, द सोल ऑफ अल्लाह। इसके आसान लैंग्वेज में जो हमारे पीरो दायन ने हमको बताया है, दे यूज वर्ड हायर सोल, हायर ह्यूमन सोल, actual human soul.
Is it still not the same as Noor?
Noor, वो बात की बात है. And remember she asked question how Imam becomes Imam, and we will talk about that in a minute. अभी भी उसके अंदर वो नहीं है. Remember we are talking about Imam, जब वो Imam बन जाता है, and that's the additional thing, and we will talk about that in a minute. Then comes the rational soul. अभी भी हमारे अंदर एक और रूल नहीं है कि जो इमाम के अंदर होती है वो रूल कुद्दूस होती है, जिसको हमारे दाई ने बहुत अच्छी तरह से हायर सोल कहा. खाली द हायर सोल, वी डोंट हैव दैट. वी हैव 4 सोल बट नॉट द हायर सोल. हायर सोल किसके पास होती है? जब आप इबादत बंदेगी, व्हेन यू डू लॉट ऑफ गुड थिंग्स, देन इमाम गिव्स यू देयर फाइनल सोल, एंड देन यू बिकम अ ट्रू मीनिंग अ ह्यूमन. Until then, you are an animal who looks like human. And Imam has, in a Farman, he said, tell me what is the difference between you and an animal. In this Farman, he will tell you, are we human or are we still an animal? एक एनिमल पैदा होता है, आप भी पैदा हुए. एनिमल खाता है, आप भी खाते हैं. एनिमल बच्चे करता है, आप भी बच्चे करते हैं. एनिमल मर जाता है, आप भी मर जाते हैं. तो इमाम सुल्तान says, what is the difference between you and animal? Right? Intellect. And when do we use our intellect? Let's say we have intellect, but we don't use it. If we don't do anything besides those 4 things, then Mullah says, even though you have intellect, you don't use intellect. What are you using intellect for? To do what? Rationalize करने के लिए? So you already have that. So remember, that does not constitute as a being a full human. Human तो है, but Mullah will say you are human like animal. It's not a full human. Right?
The difference between animal and human is that human can reason, animal can't.
Right. ठीक है, तो वो आदमी बन गया. लेकिन अभी भी इसके जो एक्शंस है वो सब के सब एनिमल जैसे हैं. That's what Imam is bringing our attention
So
to.
the reasoning could even be just material. You're still a human without any religious
Believe.
belief.
So what is the difference between us and a person who has no religious belief? So Imam is saying that is like an animal. So with our intellect, so intellect is a part of the higher soul. अभी इंटेलेक्ट के भी हमारे दाइयों और पीरों ने 2 हिस्से किए हैं, अक्ले गरीजी एंड अक्ले उल्वी. अक्ले गरीजी और अक्ले उल्वी.
अक्ले
गरीजी का मतलब होता है नीडी, और उल्वी का मतलब होता है हायर,
कंप्लीट.
ठीक है, ऊपर की इंटेलेक्ट. अक्ले गरीजी एंड नीडी इंटेलेक्ट. हमारे इंटेलेक्ट जो है वो नीडी है. अब ये इमाम ने कहाँ फरमाया? आपने आगा खान में काम किया ना. आगा खान के फर्स्ट जब मौलाना आए थे और पहला बैच जो नर्सों का कॉन्वोकेशन था, इन दैट मौलाना से इट इज द इंटेलेक्ट दैट डज द 2 थिंग फॉर यू, डिसेंड एंड ट्रांसेंड. व्हेन यू यूज द इंटेलेक्ट, वो ऊपर से आता भी है और वो ट्रांसलेट भी करता है, यानी कि उसके अंदर ग्रोथ भी होता है. लेकिन अगर वो पहला ना हो तो then we are just like an animal. And then Imam said, matter of fact, and that is what makes you different than animal. आप पढ़ना, जरूर पढ़ना. 1978 का ये है कि
83.
हाँ
1983 का.
83 का, ओके 83 का. आप जरूर इंटरनेट में जाकर आगा खान फर्स्ट कॉन्वोकेशन कराची उसमें पढ़ लेना.
And he talks about,
she can send you that too.
and he talks about universal soul and universal intellect.
है ना. आपको मैं सिर्फ ये खाली पैराफ्रेज करके शॉर्ट में हमारे जो अभी बात हो रही है उसके हिसाब से. ओके, लेट्स कम बैक टू दैट चाइल्ड अगेन. So I started to tell him about all these souls. So there is a soul in Imam which we don't have. And there is Ruhul Qudus, or the Holy Spirit that he has, we don't have it. And that Holy Spirit makes him different than us, even though he looks just like us. He understood it instantly. Instantly understood. Oh yeah, I remember hearing about this with Jesus. He can relate to it instantly. That Jesus has Holy Spirit. That made him greater than the other people. So instantly, what did he ask? So are you saying our Malapa is just like Jesus? Yeah, you can say that. You can say that. At the time of prophet, there were prophets. In time of Imam, there are Imam. They are both with the same Nur. Then I reminded him, this is the same Holy Spirit that Allah breathed into the Adam. That was not the first time in the Jesus. It was same one in the Adam. And then it happened in Noah time, and in the Musa time, Ibrahim time, and the Musa time, and the Jesus time, and the Muhammad time, and Ali time, and then it happens on and on and on and on, every single time. And then I invited him, I said, if you want, whatever I'm saying, I can show you that in the Quran. I can also probably show you in Gnan, but I don't understand Gnan, I don't think you will understand Gnan. And then Gnan may be biased because they are written for us. Farman may be biased because it was only for us. But there is one thing, I didn't write it, you didn't write it, and Molapa didn't give to us. If something is neutral that we can say, if Quran talks about it, then you will believe it. And then he said, what about Bible? It's okay. You can talk from the Bible if you want. Because Bible, we probably can find enough verses to prove to him what I was telling him. Because Bible is not too much different than Quran. It's easy to prove. From Quran, he was okay with it. Because that is one thing he understood, that it's not only talking in our favor, there is no bias there. Because if he wrote it, I'm sure he just wrote it for us. If Imam saying, he's just saying it for us. But we found a neutral ground that he said, okay, yes. If you can prove the Imam from the Quran, then I will believe it. All right, that was easy. I thought it would be hard course, but it wasn't. So we started with 1771. And if you want, you have the paper that we prepared?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So we started with the 1771. And in 1771, Allah talks about how every people on this earth, doesn't matter regardless of time, will be called upon with their Imam. जब भी वो गुजर जाएगा तो उसको अपने इमाम के साथ बुलाने में आएगा. If there is no Imam, who are you going to be called with? That's the first proof of Imam in the Quran. First proof. Because it talks about all the time.
अगर इतना ओपनली लिखा हुआ है तो मुसलमान लोग क्यों अभी तक उस लोग को दिमाग में नहीं
Belief system, and we will show you that. In Quran, when they read Imam, they read book. They don't even translate. What we were just talking about in Gnan translation, same issue in the Quran. If you know a little bit Arabic, then you will understand that they are not translating it correctly. Why would they not translate it correctly? Because of their belief. If I don't believe in Imam, why would I write Imam? I have no reason to write Imam. So they will write guide, they will write book always,
Register,
और the और क्या लिखते हैं?
रास्ता भी था.
तुम्हारे में से जो बड़ा होता है पेशवा का वर्ड यूज करते हैं.
हाँ, पेशवा.
लेकिन इसके लिए वो इंग्लिश में क्या वर्ड यूज करते हैं लोग? The one who is higher than normal, जिसको उर्दू में पेशवा बोलता है.
The one who says like namaz like in front.
पेशीमा.
पेशवा उससे निकला पेशवा.
पेशवा whoever is in the front. So they will take all this word, but they will never ever translate Imam is an Imam. Because they don't believe it. But as a Ismaili, Mullah Paka pehले हम फरमान लेवे, आज़िज़ जोमे की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. When you read Quran, it must represent a concept to you. ये Mullah Paka फरमान है. Whenever you read Quran, it must represent a concept to you. इसमें क्या concept हमको नजर आता है? In this ayat 1771, क्या concept हमको मिला? कि कहा जाता है कि in every time, whenever you die, you will be called with your Imam.
So I have the verse here. In fact, we teach our students that what kind of Quran to buy.
Yeah.
So
and there are some Quran better than others.
So we have
translation wise.
Translation. Okay. So we would have Sunni Quran and Shia Quran, so they can understand. So this the chapter he mentioned is 17, verse 71. It says, "One day we shall call together all human beings with their imams. Those who are given their record in their right hand will read it with pleasure, and they will not be dealt with unjustly in the least." So this is the verse. Every nation will be called with their imams. Quran says it.
What is the translation?
Huh?
Is it a correct translation?
This is a correct translation, yeah.
You see, we have three different Quran.
Three different Quran. There's another Quran there, and this is
the reason we keep that. So when somebody is talking to, and we have sometimes we have Ismailis, कि जो बोलते नहीं, you cannot even prove the Imam from the Quran. They come over here and they want to argue with you, and they bring their own Quran with the incorrect translation. And we say, yeah, we have those right here.
Right here, yeah.
I can show you what you have. I have it too. And then when we put underline on those words, उनकी आंखें खुलती है. Oh my God, I've been missing all this time. So that's number one, 1771.
And you wanna, when you're talking about Quran, I wanna just tell them, right, so they know. So earlier we would just have Arabic and English translation, but we learned with our children that no, they need to know Arabic too, and they can read Arabic. So we now recommend this Quran, which is Arabic transliteration and translation. So when we say, it says register, we say, okay, read in the transliteration. What does it say? And the word in Arabic is Imam. And then those who challenge us, we say, see, it's not us, it's Quran says it, it is Imam. You know, so then they're like, wow.
Yeah.
Where did you get this Quran from?
This is actually we got from India.
We had to order from India, we could not find it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And we have to find somebody who can order it for us. You know, it took us like few years to find the right
Quran,
you know, with the right translation. Because if they don't believe in Imam, they have no reason to translate Imam.
Yeah.
There's no reason. Why would I translate Imam? The other one, you know, where it says Imam Mubin, you know, Kullu Shayna Sanafi Imam Mubin, they will literally say a lighted or manifested book. Instead of saying manifested Imam. So if a Ismaili with Imam's blessing truly and honestly wanted to read Quran, he will find Imam everywhere in Quran. Everywhere. And we have recorded lectures that we can, if you want to listen to it, we can send you that not 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We can give you all these references. And you can find Imam in Quran. Right? So 1771 was the first one that we normally
you want to talk about Imam kaise banta hai? You know, you got into this one?
Yeah.
So
okay.
Because that's simple and basic.
Simple.
Yeah.
Okay. So after talking to him and showing him the Quran, and after he understood that Imam has something we don't have, and then we talked about, and of course he had the same question, what about Noor? आज मैं आपको पूछता हूँ, अभी इन्होंने आपको गाड़ी में पूछा कि how do you see it? And you nailed it right to the last dot. हमारा blind faith होता है. We don't ask question. You know the question जो इतना अजीब गरीब है, and we all should be asking. We all should be asking. how does Imam receive his nur from the previous Imam? क्या वो यहाँ से निकाल के उसमें डाल देता है? How does he transfer the nur?
To me, first of all, these questions never.
We never
Right?
thought of it,
Never
right?
came
Our
to
kids
me.
are.
Yeah, why we don't? Because we have a blind faith. We
Faith.
have no reason to have this question.
Mm.
We have no reason for having this question.
So
Right?
how is it?
Yeah? Okay. So, इमाम बनने के लिए 5 चीज़ों की ज़रूरत होती है, not एक. You need 5 things to become imam. यानी कि जो भी इमाम का बेटा होता है, जो इमाम बनने वाला होता है, he will require 5 things to become imam. शाह करीम भी सेम, सुल्तान मोहम्मद शाह भी सेम, अली शाह भी सेम, जो भी आज तक इमाम हमारे नाम है, जो भी जिसका भी नाम ले लें आप, everyone had 5 things to become imam. Without these 5 things, one cannot become imam. क्यों? कि उसके भाई बहन भी तो होते हैं. So what they don't have, they may have 1 thing, they may have 2 things, they may even have 3 things or 4 things, but they need 5 things to become imam. So let's start with that. 5 में से जो मैं पहले first 2 things I will tell you, it would be generic, meaning it would be common between imam's physical children and imam's spiritual children, us. Those 2 will be common. दरमियान में जो होगा, it will be generic, common and particular. दोनों तरफ होगा. आखिरी के जो 2 हो गए, it would be only particular for the imam. And let's go with that. First one imam needs is the love of previous imam. आप बोलेंगे love? I mean, why? Imam, whoever he loves more, or other way around, whoever is the next imam, the previous imam loves him more than anyone else in the world. यानी अपने सारे बच्चों में से वो उसको सबसे ज़्यादा प्यार करता है. उसकी मिसाल मैं आपको दूँ, आपने याकूब का और यूसुफ का किस्सा सुना होगा. You remember when Yusuf got lost, Yaqub would cry and cry and cry. Even though he had 11 more sons. Why was he crying for Yaqub or Yusuf? Because the Nur was going to be transferred into the Yusuf. There was the love right there. So if you have not heard this story before,
yeah, YouTube. So there is a movies.
There's a Urdu version, there's
English version too. Yeah, and they've made it from Quran. And you would, I love it. We've loved watching it.
I also watched it.
Yeah.
Because to us, watching is a lot easier.
Easier than yes, of course. Yeah.
But in a short, Yaqub, when his son Yusuf was lost, he cried so much that he lost his eyesight. That's how much he cried. And why would a Paygambar would cry for a son when he had 11 other sons? He had 12 children. One was lost. Because he was his wasi, the next Paygambar after him. The Nur was going to be transferred into him. That's how much he loved him. So first requirement is the love. Previous Imam to upcoming Imam. More than anyone in the world. That's how much he loves him. But remember, this is also for us. What the Imam says, I love you more than you can ever love me. So that's the generic part. Second one is knowledge. When I say knowledge, we have broken down into 3 different parts. Information, knowledge, and wisdom. 3 different parts. Information is just too much. There's information.
Today we have flood of information.
Flood of information.
WhatsApp is full of people sharing things. It's like no sense.
ગુજરાતીમાં કહે છે આનાની બે છે information.
Right.
There's just too much information. So not information, not knowledge, we're talking about wisdom. So in Quran you will find ayat, whoever I give wisdom to, I give them everything. Not information, not knowledge. Whoever I give wisdom to, I give them everything. So Imam gives the wisdom to the one he loves. But he also loves us so much, He also gives us that wisdom, जिसको हम intellect कहते हैं अभी. Without the love of Imam, we will not have that intellect. हम इंसान तो होते हैं without the intellect. The intellect comes from the Imam because he is the universal intellect and we are the needy intellect. So our neediness seeks their intellect from the universal intellect which is Imam himself. So वहाँ से आती है. These two are generic. The third one is Isme Azam, जिसको हम बोल बोलते हैं. Bol. And I said this middle one is generic and particular. The bol that we receive from the Imam and all his children receive from the Imam. Imam के बच्चों के पास भी तो बोल होता है ना, खाली हमारे पास थोड़ी होता है. All उसके बच्चों के पास भी बोल होता है, हमारे पास भी होता है. So it is generic and particular. लेकिन वो इमाम का बेटा, the one who will become the next Imam, will receive a particular Isme Azam, a khas, a higher,
Special.
a special Isme Azam. और वो Isme Azam एक ही Isme Azam है जो आदम से लेकर आज तक चला है. Every prophet had to have that Isme Azam. Every Imam had to have this Isme Azam to become the Imam or the prophet. Special Isme Azam. हमारे पास भी Isme Azam है, लेकिन वो जेनरिक साइड में आता है. वो एक Isme Azam से इमाम के अगर आज 4 बच्चे हैं तो उसकी बेटी को भी Isme Azam मिला होगा, उनको बच्चों को भी Isme Azam मिला होगा, सबको मिला होगा. लेकिन इसमें से एक जो आने वाला इमाम है उसको स्पेशल Isme Azam मिला होगा. अब यहाँ पर आपके दिल में औसत सवाल होता हो, when does he become Imam? Does he become Imam when previous Imam leaving the world, like on 11 July 1957? Yes and no. And we will show you कि कहाँ पर yes है और कहाँ पर no है. And we will show you that in a minute. So Isme Azam. But remember the question, because I had to put that in your head. So you will have the question and think about it. The fourth one is a progeny. अब आपने देखा कि यहाँ से हम अलग हो जाते हैं. We have the love, we have the wisdom, and we have the Isme Azam, not special Isme Azam, but we still have Isme Azam. Progeny. यहाँ से हम अलग हो गए अब. Meaning, no one can become Imam, no one can claim to be Imam until he is from the Nuran Allah Nur, Al Nabi, Aulad Ali. ये दो कानून को याद रखें. नूरन अल्लाह नूर कुरान से, आले नबी औलाद अली, हमें पता है कि हम पंचतन पाक की बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर. जब तक वो यहाँ से नहीं होता वो इमाम नहीं बन सकता है और ना ही क्लेम कर सकता है. टुडे इमाम पूरी दुनिया में प्लेटफॉर्म के ऊपर खड़े रहकर, पोडियम के ऊपर खड़े रहकर, इंटरनेशनल पोडियम के ऊपर खड़े रहकर कहते हैं, आई एम द डायरेक्ट डिसेंडेंट ऑफ प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद. Nobody challenging him. Why? Because they all understand you have to be progeny of the Muhammad and Ali to be a Imam. That's why they cannot challenge him. Because no one else is. कोई भी नहीं है दुनिया में आज कि जो कह सके कि मैं डायरेक्ट मोहम्मद और अली से हूँ. Why Imam is challenging kind of every single person in the world today? He doesn't have to say anything. Who cares अगर वो believe करते हैं या नहीं करते हैं?
Because
So-
the world is now sort of ready to accept.
Either that, think about this one now. This is the only time in our history, in last 1400 years, that if someone challenges Mullah Abad today and says, you are not Ali Nabi Aulad Ali, what do you would have to do to prove it? How would he prove it?
How would I?
DNA.
That's right, as a blood test. DNA.
Right? Blood test. You got it.
And
DNA.
that is
Why nobody is challenging him?
because
Because they understand once we challenge him, once we prove with the DNA, we will have to accept him. So better क्या करें?
Keep quiet.
keep quiet.
Just stay away from it. Don't challenge him.
The Sunni Muslims, I guess they know, but they don't want to question anymore.
Right? So that is the reason today that Imam is challenging everyone and saying, बिकॉज आज के ज़माने में प्रूव कर सकते थे हम, सुल्तान बादशाह के ज़माने में नहीं कर सकते थे. There was no other time. I mean, it doesn't matter, you can say, people don't have to believe you. Today, either they believe it or shut up. उनके पास choice नहीं है आज. क्योंकि now they understand, if we challenge and if we prove to be wrong, then we would have to believe him and follow him. And they don't want to follow him because they will lose a lot of money. The seat, the power, and everything. Everything they've been telling people will be proven wrong. So now they cannot do that. Progeny. आखिरी चीज जो बच गई वो है अमर. आपने देखा कि यहां तक जो है ना, इमाम के all the children are included. यहां तक हम भी include है. यहां से आधे include है, आधे include नहीं है. यहां पर इमाम के सारे बेटे include है. Amar is the last thing that Imam received on the day the previous Imam passes away. Or does he receive that day, or do we only know that day?
Maybe we only know that day.
We only know that day. अब वो सवाल जो मैं आपको पहले पूछने वाला था, when Imam received the special Isme Azam, how long does it take him to finish the Isme Azam that he has received? When I say finish meaning complete. हम बोलते हैं कि जब हमारे इसमें आज़म कंप्लीट हो जाएगा, we will receive the nur. How long you think Imam or the next upcoming Imam will take to finish the Isme Azam? Would he finish like we do? आस्ते 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 40 साल निकल गए.
When he will see that the next Imam is ready, like whoever is
No,
going to
whenever
be.
the Imam passes away.
Of course, whenever the Imam passes,
Okay.
but how long will that be? Like
Okay, let's take a Molapa. Let's take a Molapa's
So he
example.
was 21 when he
You have
was
21.
ready.
So let's say he received Isme Azam when he was 18-year-old.
Hmm.
We just say, let's say he received Isme Azam 18-year-old. So you think he practiced for 3 years and then he completed it in 1957? And the very first day he completed it, he became Imam.
No, I
How long do you think it would have taken? Okay.
Instant.
Don't worry about it. Let me answer it.
Ah.
Okay. Remember the reason I wanted to bring your attention to the special Isme Azam.
Yeah, because it is special, so they have extra power. They can
Yes.
finish it in there.
Now you're getting it, you're understanding it. ये स्पेशल इसमें आजम को बोलते हैं नूरे फ़हाल. नूरे फ़हाल, पहले इसको टर्म को याद कर लें. फ़हाल का मतलब होता है वेरी स्पीडी और बहुत ज़्यादा क्वांटिटी के अंदर काम करने वाला.
Abundantly.
Abundantly and very fast. Abundantly and very fast. So when Imam, the upcoming Imam I'm talking about, he receives this special Isme Azam from the current Imam, it may take him 7 hours, 7 days, maybe 40 days, but no longer than that. And he finishes. When I say finishes meaning, वो कंप्लीट कर लेता है, उसके बाद नूर आ जाता है. तो इंस्टेंटली आपका माइंड चलने लगा, व्हाट डू मीन उसके बाद नूर आ जाता है? फिर वो इमाम, बिकॉज वी थिंक कि वहाँ से नूर आ गया तो वो इमाम खाली हो गया और यहाँ पर भर गया. नूर ऐसा नहीं है. नूर इज ओमनी प्रेजेंट. नूर इज ओमनी प्रेजेंट. द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ द नूर फॉर अस इजीली अंडरस्टैंड इज एयर. अभी आपने ये पानी का ग्लास पिया. Second ago there was water in there. As soon as you finish the water, what's inside that cup? Air. Did you put the air in there? No. When the air came into the cup, did it make a vacuum anywhere else in this atmosphere? Was there any vacuum anywhere? यहाँ पर भी हवा है, वहाँ पर भी हवा है. It came over here. There was no vacuum air, and there it still filled up automatically without any unseemly, without making any noise, any sound. The air came into the cup without making any vacuum over here. जहाँ से हवा है. So Noor, the example of Noor is like that. Then current Imam में भी वही full-fledged कंप्लीट नूर होता है, एंड अपकमिंग इमाम के अंदर भी वही कंप्लीट फुल नूर आ जाता है उसके
But
अंदर।
does that to be Imam, does he know already that I am going to be the next
Okay,
Imam?
let me ask you a question then. You tell me if he knows or not. अगर आपके अंदर नूर आ जाएगा, would you know?
Yeah.
What's the answer? You just asked me a question.
तो I don't know. तो फिर now when I see
Nurani family.
Nurani family, to me I feel that Prince Ali Muhammad would be our
So
next.
that's your feel, right?
I would not say that.
Yeah, I would not say yeah. That's our feel. That's our judging actually.
Why,
We don't
why
know.
are you judging one over the others?
Yeah.
Because that's where the husband takes him everywhere with him.
No,
Wherever
let's
he
not.
goes.
Let's not do that.
Material.
Yeah,
Don't-
let's not do that. Yeah,
Don't do that.
Okay.
yeah.
There's a judging. Okay, माफी के साथ, if you forgive me in advance. You are saying I already know who the Imam is.
I know I'm not putting a
Don't,
stamp
no,
on it.
no, 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 don't bring it on your tongue
No,
either.
we cannot do that.
That we cannot do that. We cannot do that. Only person know who the next Imam is the Imam. When we say that, we are saying I'm equal to Imam.
Yeah.
We are not. हम तो गरीब बेचारे यहाँ से मुश्किल से क्रॉल करके कोई नूर भी हासिल नहीं किया है. We have nothing. How can we even know? We don't even have that intellect to know. We don't have a light to see or understand. Refrain from doing that. That's not good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
material.
that's
Yeah,
not good
yeah.
for us. It's not good for our soul. You know, then it's your free will. Okay, so वो बेटा उसका कि जिसके पास वो नूर आया होता है. Whenever he received this Ismail, I don't know if he received it when he was 18, when he was 12, in Sultan Muhammad Shah, he was only 8 years old. Right? So, whenever they receive their special Ismail, it takes only hours and days, not months, not years. Because it's the Noor Fahal. It works like a rocket, abundantly, with a lot of speed. इतनी ज़्यादा स्पीड कि हम we cannot even imagine कि कितनी स्पीड होती है उसके अंदर और कितना ज़्यादा जल्दी से काम करता है वो यूं यानी कि यूं भी और यूं भी. It just works really fast. As soon as the next Imam receives the Noor, सब कुछ रोशन हो जाता है. क्यों? कि वो इमाम में फना होता है अभी. Now his फनाफी इमाम हमारे लिए is just like a boy running around, like Sultan Muhammad Shah. Right? So if you all can picture when Sultan Muhammad Shah came to the Gadi, the very first day, do you know what he was doing? As he was walking into the Didar hall, he had a ball in his hand.
He's playing.
He was playing. He was playing.
Thak, 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 thak. That's how he came in.
Yeah, he came in, he was playing. उसके मदर साथ में थी, उसके चचा साथ में थे. जमात ने एकदम रोना शुरू किया, शोर किया. Oh, we lost our बुजुर्ग इमाम. He left us his child. बेचारा वो तो खेल रहा है. How he's gonna guide us? They all started crying. It was so much loud noise, you know.
Then Chacha said,
Sultan Muhammad Shah, the Chacha Jangi, he just picks up Sultan Muhammad Shah and put him on his shoulder. यहाँ पर बिठाया उसको. Can you imagine how small Sultan Muhammad Shah was? Put him on his shoulder. And Amaldar and Mr. Chacha is saying, Jamato, please, quiet down. Quiet down. And then one of the Amaldar said, quiet down, तुम्हारा इमाम डर जाएगा. तुम्हारा इमाम डरी जैसे. Don't make this sound. Imam Shah is listening. Hazrat is listening. Okay. I stage by. Instead of sitting on the seat, he stood up on the seat. He was just acting like a child. And Jamaat was roaring, oh my God, what are we going to do with this child? You know, what happened to our Buzurg Imam? You know, itni badi dari, itni badi topi. What are we going to do with this child? Look at, he doesn't even know कि तख्त के ऊपर बैठा जाता है. He is standing on a takht. And then he spoke, right? And we all know this famous farma.
Have you heard it from our
Yeah,
first
that's
from
right.
our?
Oh, you must read this Farman.
Not the whole
In this
thing, but,
small book, it took 25 pages. It's not even 8-year-old child.
Who can deliver?
He's just giving Farman.
Yep.
25 pages long. अगर आप किसी को बच्चे को prepare भी करके भेजे ना, he will not be able to do this. He gave 25 page long Farman. And how does he start?
Starts.
Oh my Jamaat, don't think I'm a child.
Mm.
I'm Al Nabi, Aulad Ali.
Subhanallah.
I have the same nur as Ali, and I am as strong as Ali. Don't think me as a child. That's how we start. Remember, bolte the, don't be, if the child is going to be scared. That's how we started this format. And then what he says, this is the end of the time. Akhirat ka zamana hai. It's the time of Qiyamah. The mu'min who believes in his Imam will see the miracles. And the others will also see, but will not believe.
Half-hearted people.
जो आधे दिल वाले हो गए वो कैसे यकीन करेंगे? They will lose. I will not have any problem with that. I will not lose anything. This is their lost. And he goes on and on. He gives the history of the Islam, history of the Imam.
He's telling hadith and
Yeah, he's quoting hadith and oh my God, you should read that Farman. It's just amazing Farman. 25 page long. Even with the printout today, it may be like 5, 6, 7, 8 pages long. In detail Farman. You know, Sultan Masha's first Farman. Why? Because he had the nur. When you have the nur, आपके लिए हर चीज रोशन होती है. There is no hidden, there is no curtains. He could see as far as Adam and he could see as far as Cain. He could see both sides of it. There was nothing hidden from the Imam. That's how he was talking. Because he could see everything. He was same age as Ali. The physical age, it was no longer existing for him at the level of the Nur. That's how Nur works. So when Imam, the upcoming Imam, when he receives the Nur, he's Fanafi Imam at the time. How come he does not claim to be Imam yet? Because he doesn't have a number 5. He does not have number 5, which is Amr. That Amr comes on the day of that. So very last day, Amr also comes to him. And then he waits for Jamaat to be ready, and then they open the wheel. He already knew. Because उसके लिए हर चीज़ रोशन होती है. Just like a Mu'min, if Mu'min receives the nur of Imam today, क्या उसके will have a wings और सर के पर कोई क्या बोलते सिंग लग जाएंगे? He will look like you and me. There will be no difference between you and me, right? Imam जो आज Imam है, Imam का जो भी बेटा है, he will look like any other son. They all look same. They all look the same. He knows that he's going to be next Imam, and the Imam knows he's going to be the next Imam, and that's it. There's a secret and bond between those two. There's a bond between those two. There is no other person in the world knows कि next Imam कौन होगा. Because we made the same mistake in the past by predicting ये Imam होगा, वो Imam होगा, and that's how we see the division at the time of Nizar, time of Ismail, time of Musa Sibrullah, because people predicted other than the Imam they became. And they said, oh my God, I thought that would be, no, so I'm going to just follow that. That's why I said, there's a warning, don't do that. Because that's exactly what happened in the past. People were predicting, and when it didn't happen, उनका ईमान को धचका लगता है. So why should we do that? Why do I wanted to harm my own faith?
Put yourself
We have
into
no
test.
reason.
Right?
We have no reason to
When
do
we
that.
went to Hunza Gilgit, remember, they had Prince Ali Khan's picture next to her Sultan Muhammad Shah.
Oh, that's not.
They all thought that he's going to be the
Yeah,
next
yeah,
Imam.
yeah.
So they
yeah.
were disappointed in fact.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So if you don't do that,
Mhm.
then we just wait until the Imam tells us. That's it. What are we? We are not in a hurry.
Yes,
Imam is
we
not
are-
in a
we
hurry.
are not-
Why we need to be in a hurry?
Now, two
So,
questions.
Abhi,
Two
no,
questions comes up on these
Mm-hmm.
5 things that you say.
Mm.
Intellect. The definition of intellect is a question mark, because when we say that Imam gives us the intellect, so we are Ismailis, he gives us intellect. But we know that non-Ismailis are also intelligent people. What is the difference between there?
Very good question.
And
Want to ask the second one first? Okay, साथ साथ में.
And I have got another question,
Mhm.
is that if we say that Imam knows everything, Imam had said at one time for him to, because Sultan Muhammad Shah in his will had said he wanted to get buried in
Aswan.
Aswan. But it was a while before he got buried into Aswan, and Hazim Ahmed said that I had lots of problems to make
To make this happen.
to make this happen. Now, if he knows everything, then why would he have any problems?
Good question. Both good questions. Love it. Thank you for asking. All right, first intellect. Okay. जब हम बोलते हैं कि हमारे से ज़्यादा स्मार्ट लोग हैं दुनिया में, right? What kind of intellect do they have? With their intellect, can they find the Imam?
No.
So they're not their intellect.
So
His
in,
definition of
intellect is
whether
different.
it
Right.
Material
Okay.
intellect or
Mhm.
intellect that is material and spiritual.
Okay.
Mm.
So
Because
क्या
Hazim Imam has talked in his sermons
Mhm.
a lot about intellect and intellect.
Exactly.
We just take it as
Physical.
physical, be really knowledgeable,
Material.
make sure that you know there is,
So you already know the answer to it.
yeah.
Yes.
No, but
Kind of.
then all the other Muslims who does not believe in Imam,
Hmm?
what are they? What do they get out when they die? What happens to them?
Good
They
question.
also pray. They do 5 namaz.
Why
roza,
Muslim?
zakat.
Christians also, Zoroastrian
Yeah, yeah,
also,
oh, yeah.
everybody
So-
prays.
Good
Yeah.
question. All right. So let's finish this too, and we'll come to
Mm.
your Muslim question or other Ismaili, other than Ismaili
Other
question.
than, yeah.
So we understand that if their intellect cannot find something which is right in front of their eyes, meaning they are not that smart. They do have eyes. Now, for a second, I'm going to also bring that same question into Ismaili. Aren't there any Ismailis who are Ismaili and still does not recognize the Imam? Meaning,
Mera-
है ना? Of course.
बहुत है.
If that is the case, meaning intellect and intellect में फर्क है. The one who when Allah gives intellect to you, the wisdom, He gives you everything. When you say everything, what does it cover? Everything. What does it cover? All the recognitions. Remember this word. All the recognition. Recognition of Allah, recognition of Imam, recognition of Nur, recognition of Quran. And then everything is inside of that. ये 4 चीज़ के अंदर हर चीज़ आ जाती है इसके अंदर. Because if you have recognition of this 4, everything comes right into it. That's how Imam is وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَثْنَاهُ فِيهِ.
Imam, subhanallah.
That's how he is. Because everything is encompassed in that. Because Imam with his nur recognizes all this 4.
So does he
And when
pick,
Imam says, I give you everything, he gives you everything.
but does he pick a individual like, yeah, I will give this person more intellect than this person?
Good question. Good question.
फिर
And
बात-
also, in relation to this
आपके 2 question है उसको भूल नहीं जाना.
yeah, is also that why would Allah's nur is in Imam, does not give this to 99.9% of the population that he has created.
Mhm.
Only gives it to a very, not selective, only maybe 0.1,
To minority.
Point 1 is
two minority.
To
right?
yeah,
Yeah, If you divide Ismailis by the number of
Yes, yes.
people in this world, it comes to 0.00000.
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So why is he being unfair?
No.
Very good question.
He's-
Yeah, very good question. So How much time do we have?
I don't know. Ask
Okay.
Yeah, it's already 9 o'clock.
All right. Because,
Court, the form is in your wallet.
all right, so she will send you a lecture on this question. Okay?
Okay.
It's already been asked, already been answered.
Mhm.
So she will send you that.
Okay.
ठीक है? All right. तो आप उनको भेजेंगे कि क्या हम अपनी free will साथ हैं? Okay, this.
I'm telling you, all these questions have been asked in different ways, and I can share. I would like to talk to them about, the levels. We start with basic concepts, okay? First, basic concepts, like the way he said, the recognition is so important.
Mhm.
First, we need to kind of correct our concepts,
Okay.
the basic things. Then we talk about recognition of Jamaat Khana. So recognition is Shinasi, like knowing Jamaat Khana. Jamaat Khana Shinasi. Then we talk about
Recognition of Imam.
Imam Shinasi. And that's how, Pegambar Shinasi. So everything has to be recognized, understood. There's a hadith, right? Maula Ali has said, the one who has recognized himself has recognized Allah. So all this recognition leads us to recognize ourselves. Hence, we recognize Allah. So all these, it's like stairs. We have to climb one by one. Right now, what you both are doing, you are jumping from one question to another question. He has not even finished the answering the first question, and it's very normal. It's very normal.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's
Now,
very
we are
normal.
okay with that.
Because your mind is working so fast, and you've never gotten this food, right?
Also, we
So it's
think
like,
that we might forget.
yeah, you might forget. Yeah. So it will be hard to get to every question. So whatever you do not get answered, I'll get your numbers, and what I'll do, I'll start with basic concepts. As soon as you listen and finish, you tell me you have heard it, I'll send you next. The speed depends on you.
Okay.
The hunger, it's up to you.
How fast you want to jump?
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's all up to you. So I'll send you
First
everything.
question था intellect. What was the second
Intellect, Ismaili or non-Ismaili का difference. कि उनको किसे
question? वो इनका question था ना?
Okay.
He has asked me two questions. So first was the intellect. Until you try to
When
win
I
it.
come back, yeah.
And then answer yours. Okay. So when Imam loves you and when you love him, that's how he chooses who to give and who not to give. It all depends on us. Now listen to this very carefully. It all depends on us. In Surah Muhammad in Quran, remember whatever I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you references. Surah Muhammad, Surah ka number 47, ayat number 6 and 7. It says, "O you, help me help you." How can we help Allah? Allah को हमारी मदद की जरूरत है. How can we help Allah? We can't. But Allah says right there, "Oh you help me, help you." Okay, now remember this principle, okay? This is the principle of the Quran. Imam saying the same thing. My spiritual children, follow my farman so I may guide you. The more you follow Imam's farman, the more he will guide you. How do you follow Imam's farman? The more you understand Imam's farman, the more you will follow Imam's farman, and the more he will guide you. In this scenario, who's Imam talking to and who's Imam going to give everything? The one who will follow his farman. Who will follow his farman? Who will understand his farman? Who will understand his farman? Who will read and pay attention to his farman? Do you see that? It's all depending on us. All depending on us. Let's take example of a regular dunya ki, school ki. In your classroom, in my classroom, we had 35, 38 children. How many were number one? He choose to be number one or the teacher choose to be number one?
He worked hard.
He works hard. Now your answer is, whoever choose to be close to the Imam, he will do what?
Work
He
hard.
will work hard. First, he will work hard, understand Imam's farman. Then he will work hard, follow Imam's farman. Then he will work hard to receive more guidance and follow those guidance again. And then it is just a cycle. More and then more. Take farman, remember, Sultan Muhammad Shah said, the people with the knowledge will increase their rank step by step.
Subhanallah.
Yeah,
Now,
इल्म वाली रूह दर्जा ब दर्जा ऊपर चढ़ती है.
now इसको रिवर्स करें. Without the knowledge, you will never increase your rank. आप इबादत 40 साल भी कर लेंगे ना, 40 साल भी.
without any knowledge.
There's a फरमान मौला सुल्तान
This
बादशाह
is
फरमान
Imam
कि
Shah.
40 years
मैं नहीं
बाद
बोलता हूँ. Remember all reference है.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything. Whatever Imam said, I'm just conveying.
quoting it, yeah.
Without the knowledge, and now this is Sultan Shah Farman again. Without the knowledge, if you insist on practicing the ibadat, you will become shaitan. In the same token, it says, the one with the knowledge will increase their rank step by step. देखो ये फर्क है हमारे तरीके में. Intellect plays a huge role in our tariqah.
And intellect can only be nourished with true knowledge. If intellect does not have true knowledge, there's a lot of knowledge how to make money and
All
this
the
and that.
information.
True knowledge will help nourish the intellect. Then it will only connect to Imam's intellect. Otherwise, it will not. The nourishment, the food of intellect is true knowledge.
Yeah. And how and where do you find true knowledge? Now that question comes, right?
Yeah, sometimes the Mullah guides you, like the way we got a chance to sit with you today.
Shukran,
And this
Mullah.
was his wish that we should
We
see
came
you
from
and
Toronto,
get some
yeah.
knowledge from you.
And why that happened? Because you said, Malaba, I wanted to know.
Yeah,
That's
you
all you have
asked,
to say.
you desired.
Yeah.
You help me, I will help you. Remember the principle?
Yeah. Now it's up to you to stay in touch
Every
and learn.
single time you ask a question,
Yeah.
he will answer.
And I remember his question too now. आसमान का मुश्किल है तो क्यों डिजायर किया? आसमान में जो बेरी क्या ना बोला?
Oh, yeah.
क्यों मुश्किल?
Okay. So, Imam जो है अपने ज़माने में, what he sees, we don't see. As a matter of fact, you're not going to believe, just on this Monday, not Monday, sorry,
2 weeks.
Wednesday उसने पूछा कि सुल्तान मामिशा की वाइफ की ये ख्वाहिश थी, because there was their vacation home,
Yeah.
and they wanted to be buried there.
Yes.
And I told them what? Just this Wednesday. कितने दिन पहले की बात है? 3
6
दिन.
दिन के लिए हाँ क्लास में हुआ है.
She has, and this was my answer. What Imam can see, you cannot see. What Imam can see, you cannot see. So now you have two choices. One, don't challenge Imam's wisdom. That's first, easy way out.
Blind faith.
Blind faith. Second, wait and see why that place. Wait and see कि वहाँ पर क्यों? What is so special about that place, भाई? What is so special about that place? Wait and see, and you will see कि वहाँ पर क्यों हुआ है.
फ्यूचर में पता चलेगा हमको.
We will see it. Sometimes it takes hundreds of years. Sometimes it takes decades. Sometimes even takes centuries. And I'm going to give you example. You'll be so shocked. Sometimes it takes 4,000 years. 4,000. And it just happened. इसलिए हमको पता चला. हम भी आपके साथ गरीब हैं. We don't know too much. Mullah Abbas said in 2 years ago or a few years back in Golden Jubilee that we're going to take all the commonality in all the different culture in Ismaili Tariqah and we will give you something which will be common.
Like universal.
Universal. And the Imam picked 2 or 3 things. एक था मैयत की नमाज, एक थी
निकाह,
शादी की निकाह और एक थी बैयत. Now it's universal. पहले जो है, it would be different in Africa, different in Canada, different in Pakistan, India, in America, सब जगह अलग. Now it's all universal, common. So Mullah has given a task and to different people. एक group का काम था कि bring all the nikah from different culture. All the nikahs from the नासिर खुसरो culture से, रशियन कल्चर से, चाइनीज कल्चर से, और फिर इंडो पाक कल्चर से, और फिर अफ्रीका की कल्चर बहुत चेंज हो गई. Because they've been there for a couple hundred years.
So practices उनकी.
Practices है.
उनकी practice.
और वर्ड जो ना थोड़ा थोड़ा मिक्स हो गए, इधर उधर हो गए, वर्ड थोड़ा थोड़ा इधर उधर हो गए. Imam brought all the निकाह नामा की मैं खाली बात कर रहा हूँ. You know, we can talk about other namaz, निकाह नामा. And they brought and they said, okay, Mullah said, okay, this is the one that we will focus on. बाकी सबको हटा दो. And this particular nikah nama, it said the Adam and the Hawa. And second one, Ibrahim and Sarah. And third one, Joseph and Zulekha.
Yusuf and Zulekha.
And fourth one, Ali and Fatima.
Muhammad and Khatija.
Muhammad and Khatija, Ali and Fatima. Mulaba said, stop. Mulaba ने पेन निकाला, सायरा को क्रॉस आउट किया. Put Hajra here. Hajra. Hajra was alive 4,000 years ago. She never received the credit. Never received the credit. Who was Hajra? She is the Dadi of Mola Bapa, all the way back from Ismail ki mother. Ismail ki mother, Hajra. क्योंकि सायरा जो थी वो इसाक की मदर थी, और इसाक के बेटे के बेटे के बेटे हाजिर इमाम नहीं है.
इमाम नहीं.
इसाक के बेटे के बेटे बेटे जो ना हाजिर इमाम नहीं है. हाजिर इमाम इस्माइल के बेटे के बेटे के बेटे आज है. तो मौला पर यूज द वर्ड कि she was my dadi from the Ismail. Do you see that? It took 4,000 years to get a credit. So sometimes it takes some time.
So how come none of the other imams corrected this thing?
Okay? Sometimes it takes a long time to...
There is a reason. There is a reason for that too.
I know there's a reason.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Right?
not going to question
So-
that. I'm just saying like...
Okay, yeah. And now we can give you
Maybe
quick...
we are not prepared to hear that.
No, actually quick reason है इसका. क्योंकि remember we are building bridge with the other ummah now. It was never like that before. Now our nikah is open. Meaning अगर आप नॉन इस्माइली हैं और आप किसी इस्माइली की शादी में आना चाहते हैं, इस्माइली can request to have a nikah outside the Jamaat Sana in the social hall. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You know that, right? I'm sure okay, Canada में भी होता है, हमारे यहाँ भी होता है. Any Ismaili can request to have a nikah in the social hall, and they can invite their other Muslim or non-Muslim friends. Because of that, foreigners instantly पता चल गया. Because अगर यहाँ पर सायरा है, and someone whose intellect is enough or know the history enough, they will say, oh, so your imam is from the Saira?
जबकि ट्रू नहीं होता.
That would not be true. You see that? Until now, हमारे पास कोई choice नहीं थी. निकाह जमात सारा में होगी, वरना जाओ. And I remember when we were Mukhi Kamriyas, निकाह करनी है तो जमात सारा आओ, न जाओ. Strictly. अब ऐसा नहीं बोलते हैं. Matter of fact, they encourage to bring the outside Jamaat in a nikah and this kind of ceremony. They even have a whole department who take care of the, what they call it? Non-Ismaili interfaith friends and families. Interfaith friends and families. पूरा department है. हर जमात खाने में.
In fact, Canada में तो हाजिर met with those families, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
देखा क्यों जरूरी है? Because there could be just one person who has knowledge of the history, he would have caught them. So Marabba said, no change it. 4,000 years it took to get a credit. यानी कि जो उसकी माँ थी, उसकी दादी थी, we've been saying it wrong all these years. क्योंकि इसको important नहीं था, कोई मसला नहीं था. And remember also us, we were not that strong either in history and all this. Because our Jamaat is getting more and more stronger in knowledge, it is time for Maulana to give us more and more knowledge.
Talk about it.
Us. See? Oh.
Yeah, they
ये
look.
आपको कुछ गिफ्ट देना चाह रही है?
Yeah, they look tired. Why don't you show it book by book कि क्या क्या है? Yeah.
So these are some basic books. They were returned. Let me start from
book one. Yeah.
book one. Okay, so these books were returned. Okay, Urdu English दोनों है. So let me turn this around. Okay, so these books were returned when we were teaching in night school, in religion center, and kids will come and the parents will come and ask questions. So we start writing those questions. After a few years, when we retired, we start writing all those questions. We had like more than 100 questions, and we have compiled in this book. So in this book, it will tell you everything about few things, what we do in Jamatan and why we do it. ठीक है? For example, आप देखेंगे कि किस तरह से हमारी आदत होनी चाहिए जमात में जाते हुए. It's in English, Urdu, both, so you can read. ठीक है? Then next book is ये वाली जो है
दुआ नमाज
Yeah.
है
या इसके अंदर जो क्वेश्चन है ठीक है yeah. So this book over here is two-parted,
हाँ
this one. But in this one, the main question was, how do we recognize the Imam? Remember we just talked about, right, the Imam Shirazi. The second was Iman and faith. We all say, there is no Ismaili who will say, I don't have faith. Over here we have talked about faith. How can you increase your faith?
increase your faith
Through knowledge. Then it talks about the 7 pillars of Islam. And foreigners say, 7 pillars? I thought there were only 5 pillars. There are 7 pillars.
7 pillars
You did not know, I can tell. You didn't know either. 7 pillars of Islam. So it talks about 7 pillars of Islam. Over here, there's only one chapter, 7 pillars of Islam. उस 7 pillars की detail इस किताब के अंदर है. This is part 2 of this book. Yeah, because of the heading. Correct. So this is the one. But read this first, then you read
so
that.
read in
and
sequence
you will
because
have
it
to-
builds on each one yeah
And then there are still some of the questions that came from the book 1 into the book 2. After book 1, people have small questions, we put it in book 2. Okay? See, this is 2 and then part 2.1. And this one over here, now this is on the higher level. So I would say please read those first before you read this. Because this talks about Ali Allah. The concept of recognition of Imam. Because until you understand the recognition of Imam, you will not be able to recognize or understand the concept of Ali Allah, which in our tradition, हमारे लिए बहुत आसान है, because our background, it's very easy for us. But for Jamaat, it's really hard. So we don't even give this book to anyone.
yeah, we don't give
If
it
you lived locally, we would have given
This
free.
one.
We would have waited for you to finish those before we hand you
yeah,
this
this is
book.
very higher level
Because
actually.
you are going, this is a higher level book.
Hmm.
Alright? So this talks about tasbiyat and importance of tasbiyat and zikr and why do we have to have a tasbiyat and when do we say tasbiyat and how long we should say tasbiyat.
What does it mean?
What does it, and without the meaning, it will tell you over here. If you don't understand the meaning, don't do this tasbiyat. And I don't say that. Look at the dua book, the very first page, Mullah Abbas Salman. If you don't understand the meaning of dua, don't say it. It's just flat out saying, don't say it. Right? So understand that and then read. And at the end, over here, when you get over here, then he will talk about the recognition of Imam. Remember the recognition of Imam in that one? There was just a preamble of this. इसलिए वो पढ़ना जरूरी है, then you read this. This is a preamble. And then, because you love, and you should always have good question in your mind. This number 56 chapter, read the story of Adam. And Imam says, when you have some time, आपने सुना होगा, you should think where you come from.
Yeah.
If I ask you, you may be able to give me your name, your father's name, your grandfather's name. If you are smart, you may go to Adam. Then Malaka says what? Then I would say, who was Adam? Where did he come from? Who sent him? What was before him? You see how Imam is encouraging us to ask questions?